Hi friends, a little more Sandtray figures demo for you. These are just things that we can use to sort of explore interests or personality expression. So let me see what I mean by interests are things like, you know, sports, basketball. I have a whole set related to different sports or piano. I have a whole bunch related to different musical instruments. Um, you know, maybe a keyboard and mouse. Let's see, how do I orient that? Somebody who's involved in technology or is a gamer or something like that. Um, a hammer, I have a hammer, I have nails, a little jar of nails, paintbrush, a little can of paint. It's not real paint, it's just like a figure that represents paint, and like wrenches and stuff. So when I say like interests or personality, if you're trying to express something in the sand tray, so let me give you a demo using this one. So obviously this is a hammer. So if I was doing something about a sand tray and I wanted to say like, my or like like I've had kiddos like tell me like introduce themselves to me by like making their world in the sand tray, and that will include different important people in their life. So imagine that their dad is a drywall installer, and maybe they put in some figure that represents dad, and or some kind of parental thing, and then they'll put a hammer in the sand tray next to that, right? So that would be like, this is the personality of my dad, and then this is that, because he works with tools, this is the tool that I'm putting in the sand tray next to dad. That would be a way to introduce the kind of person that he is and tell me more about that, right? but the hammer can be used for other things. So I'll tell you how. First of all, think about how you might use the hammer in the tray. There's a lot of different ways to use a hammer or tools in general. One of my favorite ways to use the hammer for my own personal work is like, sometimes when I'm dealing with something, I know there's work to be done. Rarely is it that the work to be done is my issue. For example, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, right? I'm not processing any feelings about that right now, but let's say I was feeling some frustration. It doesn't escape me that there's work to be done. I need to think about videos, research topics, see what people are interested in hearing about, set up my recording space, turn on the camera, do something about my frizzy hair, right? Like I have a whole set of work to be done for my job. I'm not afraid of work. So I will, when I'm trying to process the feelings that I have about stuff, it usually doesn't have anything to do with the actual work that has to be done. It has to do with other stuff, like, the fear of putting myself out there, or in the case of YouTube or something like that, right? So when I say sometimes in the sand tray, the items that we select to put in there sort of becomes a shorthand. I put this in the tray as a shorthand of like, there's work to be done. And so in a couple of the trays that I've broken down, I'm certain in the one I did with the cowboy hat explainer, I think that one I'm pretty sure that has tools in it. But that's the kind of tray, like, like it's a way of sort of shorthanding to myself, like, I know there's work to be done. That's not the issue. The issue is XYZ. And that sort of shorthanding the work to be done sort of holds cognitive space for me, or holds that cognitive load. So I can put that in there and represent, like, what else is it besides the work to be done that's getting in my way, or that I'm having feelings about, etc. So I will use the hammer in that way. It doesn't, I don't know if that's landing for you, but probably in a couple more of the trays that I break down for you, you can see my use of the tools, and then I'll be able to explain it in more detail. So meanwhile, what would you use the hammer for? I can think about how we might use that in a tray about politics. I can imagine we might do that in a tray around forgetfulness. Might do that in a tray about like to a hammer, everything's a nail kind of thing. It goes on and on and on. Maybe like a pounding headache, right? So I have, let's say I'm doing all the difficult things in my life, and here's all the stuff in the tray, and here's this pounding headache, and I set that in the tray to represent that. So this is just like an example of how much different stuff can you project onto one item. I feel like you could do a lot of things with the hammer. So, and then likewise with like this, this, the piano could be about the environment, I like a musical environment, or it could be about like, my best friend is a pianist, or it's a hobby that I want to take up in the future. And so, things that I'm looking forward to in my future, I could put that there. Likewise, this could be representing, interest of basketball, but it also could be like hoped for things like, I wish I could get a scholarship based on a certain skill, or it could be, I wish I had friends that would come over and play basketball with me, or it could be, there was a sad incident related to playing basketball or playing sports or sports team stuff. And you want to process that. So then that just gets placed in the tray as a marker, as a holder, as again, to kind of take the cognitive load off of everything that was going on. It holds space for everything that person is thinking through. Likewise with this little computer thing. So that could be somebody's interest in gaming. This could be, my mom's always on her computer. That could be, this is the only place where I feel safe and have pleasure. Like you could project a lot of things onto something like this. So what kind of emotion would that evoke in you? And then the other thing I wanted to show, I have a little sampling of pets. So little dogs. You guys know I'm all about my dog right now because we just got a new puppy. So different dogs. I probably have 30 dogs, and kiddos try to find really a close approximation for their dogs when they're trying to introduce themselves to me and tell me more about their home life. They'll tell me about all their dogs, and then we'll pick out, it's dogs probably are the most like sort of direct representation. Otherwise, people are doing really abstract things often. And then I have a little kitty as well. So I have a whole host of cats. As I would say, the dogs get used more than the cats. And then one more I wanted to show you. So a whole host of wild animal figures, and I'll show it to you in another video. But this is a very small version of a wild cat, right? I also have a giant, really big, like probably this big, of a lion. I have a big tiger. I have several large cats, and I have several small cats. And so you can do a lot of things depending on how you experience the cats. They can be protective. They can be predatory. They can be family, right? Any number of ways that we might use the little figures to represent different things in the sand tray. So I have a whole ton of like wild animals. I have moose, and I have hippos and all kinds of good stuff. So hopefully you guys will see more of that as I start to demo some more of these trays. Anybody have any ideas on how to demonstrate the tray? I am open to hearing your thoughts and feedback on that. And that's what I have for you today. See you on the next one.